bonnets in the airport. Are y'all okay with that too?
Not me.
Unapologetically you.
Not
okay.
me.
It's not for me. But
it's not for me. So and I don't have much hair for a bonnet anyway. I don't even need a bonnet.
It goes back to your audience. if you care or not, whether you have some women who care, like, okay, they're gonna wear heels in the airport because they feel like they have to be on point and they have to represent a certain type of standard, because you never know who you'll see. But then you have some people who like, I don't care, I'm doing me. I'm gonna go in this airport and I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get, and if they gonna take me, they gonna take me. But once again, you still have to deal. People treat you how you look, and that's just reality. You know what I mean? We might not want to admit it, but people look at you and they treat you how you look. So people might not say anything to you about that bonnet, but you have some people who might be side-eyeing you because you have a bonnet on, as opposed to just dressing in regular clothes. So once again, kind of like with the twerking, based on the audience, you're going to have to deal with that constructive criticism or people looking at you in a critical eye based upon how you present yourself. And that's just the world.
That actually used to be me. I'm not going to lie. Back in the day, I used to dress like a straight bum in the airport. I wore bonnets. I would just, and one day I saw 50 Cent in the airport and I snatched that bonnet off so fast. I was like, oh, shoot. And it's like ever since then, I was just like, you know what? I need to be more presentable going to the airport. So I don't dress up, but I don't look like a bum anymore. But yeah, that used to be me back in the day. I was the bonnet person and dressing like a bum in the airport. So that was me. Guilty.
And to your point, T-Bomb, I have a story. I used to dress kind of bummy to the airport too. And one particular flight, I dressed up and Delta gave me a free upgrade to first class because of the way I was dressed. Honestly, they were looking for somebody like to kind of fill in the seats at the time. And they were like, you know, do you want to upgrade? And I know it was the way I was dressed. Had I been wearing a bonnet and whatever, they would have left me in the back. So yeah.
I think that really speaks to the unspoken notion that what you wear and how you wear it tells a story about you, whether you like it or not. And I think when we talk about women wearing bonnets in public, and you know, this is something that I've observed. I don't wear bonnets in public, but and I'm not passing judgment or assumptions towards women that do. I instead choose to look at it from an understanding perspective. And what I mean by that is I look at things from a perspective of we have symptoms and we have root causes. And I think women wearing bonnets in public and pajamas and what have you is a symptom of a larger issue. And I think that larger issue is the average woman is confused and frustrated about what it means to be a woman. And so I say that to say that society has been telling women that womanhood is based upon or measured by a role, and instead of your actual inherent purpose. And so now we have, and so that's been obliterated. And so now we have women that are getting away from that role. And so now they're looking at things like, okay, so I don't want to operate in this role. So now I'm going to find ways to get away from that. And so now we see women that are competing with men because they're getting away from femininity. They're getting away from being in that womanhood space. Granted, you can still put on makeup and get your nails done and get your hair done, but this is not femininity. It's an expression of it. And so we have women that are competing with men because they're like, well, you know, I'm sick and tired of having all of these different hats that I have to wear, because the burden that women carry is we have to be everything to everyone at any point in time. And we don't get a rest from that. And so now women are like, I don't want to do this. And when I'm witnessing these women with their bonnets, I see women who are just like, I don't have the energy to get dressed up and get dolled up. I don't want to. I want to just be in my space and not be bothered, not be criticized, not worry about it. And so women are also responding to this in, like I mentioned before, about competing with men. In other forms, we see this as in the sexual liberation, where women are like, you know what, I'm going to go outside exposing myself. And this is my way of expressing my femininity because it has been completely disrespected and oppressed and suppressed in many ways. And so going back to the thing I was talking about when women are competing with men, women are looking at men and saying, you know, your grass looks greener because you don't have to deal with what I'm dealing with, which it isn't true. Manhood and being a man is equally just as tough, you know, but women are saying, well, if a man can be a CEO, so can I. You know, they're saying, well, if a man can go out and be with who he wants to be with and do what he wants to do, well, so can I. And while I'm not saying that women can't go out and have all of these nice, wonderful things, it's the motivation is in the wrong place. You know, you're doing it not because you should be doing it. You're doing it because you're trying to get away from one thing over here, which is being a woman, because you have no idea what that means. We have so many people walking around trying to tell you what it means to be a woman, and no one really actually knows what it means, because we're breaking that down in, oh, well, you know, you're a woman because you have to take care of kids, you have to take care of the household. Well, we have women who are doing just that. They have to take care of the household, but also be the provider. They have to have children, raise those children perfectly, and then find a way to put them through college, oftentimes with their own money by themselves. And women are completely tired. They're like, I'm tired of doing this. So let me be more like you. And so now we have a new emergence of a woman where these women they have nice cars, they have nice houses, they have plenty of money in their bank accounts, they have all types of degrees. And the men are looking at it like, where do I fit in with this? Like, where do I insert myself in your life? Because men are dealing with their own form of frustration. Manhood was once, you know, prescribed and understood as, you are a provider, you sustain life, you do this and you do that. And now that has been obliterated. So men are just like, okay, well, I can't provide for you. Here, I can give you a house. A woman's like, I already have a house. Okay, well, I can buy you something to eat. I already ate. You know, it's like all these things are transpiring. And so now men are looking at women. Say again?
I'm agreeing, girl. Keep going.
You know what, Lauren? That was great. Like, you know, because I mean, it's a dialogue. Oh, I had no idea.
You brought up like 10 subjects just now. I'm
not wearing a bonnet, but I get it. Like,
I mean, you got deep. You went into how? Oh, girl.
And, you know, and just to wrap that up, I don't want to, you know, take up too much time, but just to wrap that up, we have men looking at women like, you know, I don't know where I fit in here. And so now the man is looking at the woman like, I can't give you these things, but there's one thing that I have that you don't have. And that man is saying, that's my physical strength. So men are using this as a way to disempower, to break the woman down. They're using it to abuse the woman. So now we have domestic abuse is way up here because men don't know what it means to be a man. Women don't know what it means to be a woman. And we're all confused. And so when I see these ladies with their bonnets and their PJs on, again, I look at it from a place of understanding, because if you ask the woman to get ready for brunch, oh, she's going to dress up to the nines and make sure she looks beautiful. Her hair and makeup and everything's done. If you ask her to go on vacation, she's going to spend at a minimum of $200 to about $500 just to prep for that vacation. And when we see these women in these spaces, we see them as, wow, you know, she looks happy. She's living her best life. She's glowing. She's juicy. She's healthy. All of these things. And when I see women not in that space, it makes me sad, because it's like, you have no idea you have no idea who you are. And so we're saying, you know, yes, it is a tall order to represent people that look like us and everyone else, but it's a necessary thing we have to do, because the key to being a woman, one of a woman's purpose is being inspirational. When you wake up and you step outside, the moment you are walking across the street, you know, you sashay, however you walk outside, you are inspiring people to elevate, because a woman is an incubator. Anything you give a woman, she does not give it back to you the same way. You give a woman, if a man gives a woman an idea, she will give to him a blueprint, a 3D model, and a plan to get to that very thing. You know, if a man gives a woman his seed, she will give him his legacy in the form of a baby. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about what it means to be a woman, it is so much bigger than what we allow ourselves to actually imagine it to be. And so when I see women not taking care of their self-image, not taking care of themselves, and not taking the time to love on themselves more, to present themselves in a way that says, you know who I am, I know who I am, we both have an understanding here, then it really makes me sad. Because when you think about the power of a woman can bring down complete kingdoms. Like, we look out through history, any kingdom that fell, there was a woman somewhere in the background that made that kingdom fall, right? And she didn't have to do anything. She didn't have to move her finger. She was simply existing. And so when you think about it in that space, how powerful you are, a woman is one of the most powerful things on this planet. But we don't carry ourselves like that because we're not aware of it. And so that's what I see when I see women, you know, wearing bonnets and not giving themselves the necessary love and treatment and even self-respect that is required to carry yourself in that way.
Goes back to their self-worth.
Mhm.
Yes, precisely. Yes, yes.
I
So
think
me
it's
rolling out of
also.
bed.
I was like, oh, she's
I
So
think
me,
it's
me
also.
rolling out of bed to go to Publix to get some crab legs, and I just don't feel like putting on no combing my hair. And I'm just
If I
gonna.
see you in public,
Yeah, I think it's about the way you want to show up in the world itself. And I'm not going to say that I've never wore like, you know, flip-flops to the store real quick, but it also kind of speaking to some of what Lauren was saying. I think part of the issue is Black women have never had the opportunity to define themselves for themselves. Everyone else defined what a woman should be, and then on top of that, what a Black woman should be. And so when you're moving in a space where others have always defined you, I do think this might be some overcorrection of the response. So it's like kind of speaking to what you were saying, like if men are defining me saying that I'm supposed to be this, I'm supposed to be that, then my natural reaction is that now that I have the freedom to make up my own mind or the freedom to move in spaces that I normally did not have access to, guess what? I'm showing up and I'm showing out, like I'm woman, hear me roar. And I think a lot of times men misinterpret that as like it's a competition between them, but I really don't think it's a matter of competition. I just think it has a lot to do with you've kept me out of this space for so long. I didn't have access to these things for so long that now that I have the opportunity to move in the way that, I want to without fear of, anything happening, then that's what I'm going to do. So I guess for me, the question to you ladies is if we haven't had the opportunity to define ourselves throughout, historically, we never had the opportunity to define ourselves. I guess that brings that back to the question, how do we want to define ourselves now in this time period?
When you say we, you're saying as a group or individually?
I'm saying as a group, because I think typically, even though we move as individuals, we're judged as a group. So I guess the question is that now at this point, how do we want to define ourselves? When like I'm hearing Laura, I'm inspired, like, yeah, I'm a queen. And I remember like in the 90s, like you had representations of that, like Queen Latifah, you had more examples of you had Lauryn Hill, you had Queen Latifah, you had these various group of women that spoke into that, as women. I don't see that much now.